The difference of this fourth industrial revolution is it doesn't change what you are doing. It changes you. If you take genetic editing, just as an example, it's you who are changed. And of course, this has a big impact on your identity.
CRISPR is a very fascinating tool. You figure out a part of the DNA sequence that you want to change. Then you take the DNA that's nearby and create a guide in RNA, so that helps you locate the position. And then you link this Cas enzyme, which has the ability to do that cut and edit. And so pulling together this guiding RNA and this Cas enzyme, editing becomes possible. But using CRISPR, you could actually change the DNA that would determine your baby's eye color or skin tone. Most scientists agree that this is something that we should not do.
It changes you. If you take genetic editing, just as an example, it's you who are changed. And of course, this has a big impact on your identity.
The fourth industrial revolution will impact our lives completely. It will not only change how we communicate, how we produce, how we consume, it will change actually us, our own identity. And of course gives life to such policies and developments like smart traffic, smart government, smart cities. What we will see is that everything will be integrated into an ecosystem driven by big data and driven particularly by close cooperation also of governments with business, civil society. And this revolution will come at a breathtaking speed. It will be like a tsunami. And actually, it's not just a digital revolution, it's digital, of course physical, with nanotechnology, but it's also biological. And so 3D provides a particular force to this revolution. So what the World Economic Forum is doing is to promote this public-private cooperation to master the fourth industrial revolution.
One final way that's new and is promising is called the RNA vaccine. With RNA and DNA, instead of putting that shape in, you put instructions in the code to make that shape. You put instructions in the code to make that shape.
It changes you. If you take genetic editing, just as an example, it's you who are changed. And of course, this has a big impact on your identity. It changes you. If you take genetic editing, and of course, this has a big impact on your identity. It changes you. If you take genetic editing, and of course, this has a big impact on your identity.
I think maybe again to try and focus it, you talked about different exchanges in the world. Maybe the most important exchange in this respect will be in healthcare. The big battle over what we today call privacy will be between privacy and health. Do you give access to what is happening inside your body and brain in exchange for far better healthcare? And my guess is that health will win, hands down. People will give up their privacy in exchange for healthcare, and maybe in many places they won't have a choice. I mean, they won't even get insurance if they are unwilling to give access to what is happening inside their bodies.
Right. So another big exchange that will not involve money, but still be very, very important.
Future, you will have such a good digital twin that you'll be able to go into the metaverse, into a virtual reality world, turn a dial, pull a switch, feel around, and actually change it in the real plant?
Absolutely, absolutely. And this is not far off. I mean, the physical and the digital worlds, they will grow together, and the result is exactly what you just said.
I wanted to ask when you all think we're going to move from this form factor to something that's on your face, glasses, and when computing's all on the edge.
All right, 50 seconds. Who wants to answer quickly?
I think it will go. It will. First of all, it will definitely happen. I was talking about 6G. earlier, which is around 2030. I would say that by then, definitely the smartphone as we know it today will not anymore be the usual kind of the most common interface.
Wow.
Many of these things will be built directly into our bodies.
Wow.
Many of these things will be built directly into our bodies.
And talk, because I'm on the phone inside my hand. I am the phone. This is what phones are going to be from now on. I have integrated. Thank you for your call. Subdermal implants. They charge themselves with motion like a self-winding watch. And it's on the 22 network. I get signal across 95% of UK mainland, 98 by next year.
Speaking of simulation, I wanted to ask maybe Ian, you know, the new experiences that HTC can kind of bring to the table in terms of simulating all 5 senses. What sort of new experiences can that enable beyond just kind of the coolness factor or the gimmick factor of being able to smell and hear and touch and all these things?
Actually, gimmick is a funny word, right? So this is not a gaming issue. So we are trying to create this metaverse world, which is almost like creating a kind of like pseudo physical world, right? Because in the physical world, we can touch and smell and all these 5 senses. And that's towards that direction. You know, we are in metaverse, but we want to create these kind of like physical world. And for that, first of all, we need to design and develop some sensors at the sending site. And there are some sensors, right? They can sense the smell, like biosensors and touch feelings and all that. But also at the destination, and through the actuators that they will display or recreate that in the destination. And of course, there are synchronization, right? Because in the real world, we can sense everything like these 5 senses in a synchronized manner, and it will be not easy to synchronize them in this metaverse world. It's really exciting, in my opinion, and I think we will need that, really. I'm sure there will be many people that will say, why do we need 5 senses? But the world is moving more and more to these metaverse world with really creating the reality out there.
Maybe for Andrew or also Ian, what sort of identity protection or identity management problems do you foresee arising with the introduction of these types of technologies?
I will ask my colleague to answer it because it's not my interest or domain, like security, privacy, and all that. But there are huge problems there, honestly. And please, he should talk about it.
Well, I'll take a shot on the identity problem. So, as I said before in my presentation, identities are what hackers want. I mean, that's the holy grail. That's what they're after. So, protection of identities is probably at the top of the list for the metaverse. Is how do you protect those identities? How do you defend them? How do you know where all the data is? It's important to understand that identity is one thing, but authorization, authentication, and granting of access to things is something very different. And you can have identity stores in one place, but authenticate people elsewhere.
This is the construct. It's our loading program. We can load anything from clothing to equipment, weapons, training simulations, anything we need.
Right now, we're inside a computer program?
Is it really so hard to believe? Your clothes are different, the plugs in your arms and head are gone. Your hair has changed. Your appearance now is what we call residual self-image. It is the mental projection of your digital self.
This isn't real.
What is real? How do you define real? If you're talking about what you can feel, what you can smell, what you can taste and see, then real is simply electrical signals interpreted by your brain. This is the world that you know. The world as it was at the end of the 20th century. It exists now only as part of a neural interactive simulation that we call the Matrix. You've been living in a dream world, Neo. This is the world as it exists today.
It's you who are changed, and of course this has a big impact on your identity.
Actually, it's not just a digital revolution, it's digital, of course, physical with nanotechnology, but it's also biological. And those 3 dimensions provides a particular force to this revolution.
So these nanobots have been envisioned in the past 30 years by people like Eric Drexler and Robert Freitas and Ray Kurzweil. Today I'm going to show you that these robots exist here in Israel. And I'll show you this syringe, which I brought from my lab. So this syringe has inside it 1,000 billion robots. So these robots are each 50 nanometers long, which as you can see in this slide under the microscope. 50 nanometers is about 2,000 times thinner than the thickness of your hair.
So genome-engineered humans are not with us yet, but this is no longer science fiction. Genome-engineered animals and plants are happening right now. And this puts in front of all of us a huge responsibility to consider carefully both the unintended consequences as well as the intended impacts of a scientific breakthrough. Thank you.
Nano things like bionano-sensors, which we will inject inside the body so that they can monitor the, all these. Of course, they will program, and they can monitor these bacterial diseases, right?
You have biologist written on the top on your forehead. Most people think it means I can't program. It means I can't, do electronics. It means I can't do anything that's not biology. And I'm trying to shake people out of that feeling. What we do here is we look at nature as a source of inspiration, full of design principles, as new and refreshing ideas on how to do things better. And we try to adopt these solutions into our technology. We're approaching science like designers to make better machines, better architectures, better ways of communicating between people. That's basically bio-inspired design. Nanotechnology is one of the things. We're using molecules as building blocks to make nanoscale machines. We use a technique known as DNA origami to take a piece of DNA and fold it into the 3D structure that comprises the robot, the machine. There's always something scientific you can do with everything. So I'm a big fan of Lego. We can make a Lego system, we can make a Lego set, but at the nanoscale. We can use DNA origami to make a Lego set so that children can learn nanotechnology just like it's sort of a Lego game. When I bought the Xbox, people in purchasing and said, "Why do you need that? Why, are you going to play all day?" And I said, "Hell yeah, yes." We also use the Xbox for, as a control interface for nanorobots. We're just submitting a paper about using, using brain-machine interfaces to control nanobots inside a living animal, depending on what you think. We have amazing results on that. We're writing the paper right now. As a designers, we're just, we say, let's build something and see if it works. That's our approach, jumping off a cliff approach. If you tell someone, there's nothing you can't do, there's nothing you can't, eventually they'll realize, oh, yeah, I can do everything. I can do anything I want.
For how we ultimately live our lives. So, recall back to the examples I gave you with GPS and the internet and Siri. Those all came out of Department of Defense kinds of technologies, but they ultimately came together in a way that changed society. And we think that in the future that neurotechnologies like the ones I just showed you are going to be picked up by commercial entities, right? They're going to use neurotechnologies in the future. And at DARPA, we create these breakthrough technologies in order to change the future and change the world. That's what we do. That's our mission. Whether it's for a person to try to command and control a complex system, or it's a person that has extraordinary injuries and we brought them back to a more normal quality of life. We know that these technologies are extremely powerful, and we also know that they can be used for good or for ill. And without a doubt, these kinds of technologies are going to introduce new societal questions that we're all going to have to address. And just a few to consider. Will neural enhancement be considered a personal choice like laser eye surgery or even braces? Will there be a huge disconnect between the neural enhanced haves and the have-nots? In the future, will neural enhancement or some form of neural enhancements be considered a right, instead of a personal choice? These are just some of the questions that we have to think about, and they're not just questions for the technologists here, they're questions for all of us. So how the future of this very powerful technology unfolds really depends upon all of you. And as we shape that future, and we really make choices associated with that future, it's the choices that we make that will define us as individuals, and it will really reveal who we are as a society. So, so transformative moment for all of us that were involved. So what does the future look like? Well, imagine as you're getting older and you have a more powerful form of this kind of neural interface, and you're feeling maybe a little nostalgic and you want to record some of your memories. Maybe there's a possibility of using a direct neural interface to actually do that. And maybe you use that neural interface to record the moment you went on a first date, maybe the first time you proposed, or even the birth of your child. And then if you even had the ability to share those sets of memories with your friends and family, it could be transformative for how we ultimately live our lives.
Droid DNA augmentation initiated. Neural speeds increasing to 4G LTE. Brain upgrading to a quad-core processor. Predictive intelligence with Google Now complete.
Introducing Droid DNA by HTC. It's not an upgrade to your phone, it's an upgrade to yourself.
And you can see this technology being pushed. We did a podcast, Digital Immortality, AI Rapture, Final Days Report, episode 290. They are working hard to promise you eternal life. It's all a counterfeit. I want to play Klaus Schwab. Supposedly this was a leaked video, according to the End Times Reveal. In a leaked recording of a private World Economic Forum Young Global Leaders Indoctrination session, Klaus Schwab promises new recruits that their avatars will continue to live on after they die and that their brains will be replicated through artificial intelligence and algorithms. You have the chance to look forward to a career of 50 years, maybe more. Your avatar will continue to live and your brain will be replicated through artificial intelligence and algorithms, and maybe even your brain cells. Welcome to the metaverse. The collection of data for metaverse is already in full swing with Microsoft's patent 0606 patent. We've covered that probably 4 or 5 times, where you're the cryptocurrency. You're the miner if you do the said task. You'll be hooked up to this hive mind, and they'll measure you under the skin. But this is creepy. Let's roll it.
You have the chance to look forward to a career of 50 years. And my own opinion, maybe more. You will get some injections and some and so on, and then don't forget your avatar will continue to live. So and your brain will be replicated through artificial intelligence and algorithm. So we don't know, but at least 50 years.
Did he just say you will be poked? I mean, he's admitting the mind control of some technology with the As the Days of Noah devil juice that we've proven 1,000 times over. Wrote a book about it. Let's roll it again. Listen to, we're going to poke you.
You have the chance to look forward to a career of 50 years. And my own opinion, maybe more. You will get some injections and some and so on, and
you will get some injections. Wow. Nanotech mind control is some injections that defile you and hook you up to this hive mind, activated by 6G, 5G that communicates at the cell level. Their own words. Sometimes they slip. Sometimes they slip, my friends.
Inject these into the body of the humans. So now some of you are asking, what are the applications? So when you see these applications, it happened to me like a couple of people left because they thought this is too much science fiction. It is not. So here is an example. You will have, there are these body networks, or body sensor networks. You were leaving now? Body sensor networks, this is different. These are more like you will inject these into the body of the humans. Don't say, whoa. Okay, so these will be like blood cells. Like, don't forget, these are very infinitesimal small, like hair. It will be injected kind of drug, and they will create any network. Like here, for the brain cases, I will show you some applications. And for the heart, it depends again for what reason we will be injecting these these devices that they will run in our body, and then they will observe the body. They can, detect tumors and help you alarm anything that you may have, viruses. Either they will fight it, like these blood cells, the existing blood cells we have. Additional blood cells, they will do these collective, cooperative attacking, quorum sensing, they call them. So then they will try to solve the problems. If not, then they will alarm outside, saying, there is some problem inside of the body. There are also neuron networks. In other words, our cells in our body, they have electrical and molecular links, and they communicate, and they indeed create a network inside our body. Okay? So now, if somehow we create these models and analyze them, we can try to understand how in vivo networks of neurons work. And then we can accordingly create diagnosis and treatment solutions or tools for example, brain pathologies or heart problems or some other medical applications. I will come back to it.